Hey, what's good? It's Cadillaktrackz. I'm gonna go ahead and make a beat here. I wanted to show y'all a live stream of me making a beat, but YouTube won't let me live stream anymore. You have to have 10,000 followers, and I don't think we'll ever get there. And I try to use Streamlabs OBS, but that program is so dumb it doesn't even work, so it's worthless. So I'm just gonna record using this video recorder I always do. The audio will come out of one side of the ear, but who cares? I wanted to show y'all this though. This is Maschine's newest update. You might already know about this. It came out on the 28th of March. It's just some minor fixes. They had another one in March that came out right here on the 6th. It has some minor fixes, and also the one that came out on the 21st of February where they added sounds.com. if you're into that, and they also added a lot more other stuff. So these are all the updates that you should have by now. I wouldn't say that they're necessary. I haven't updated. I didn't need the sounds.com, and it hasn't updated anything, but I will sooner or later. But I don't want any problems, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a beat here, and it's probably better this way because I can actually pause the video down here, and that way the video and this beat making video won't be extremely long, because it takes me a long time to make a beat. But we're gonna go ahead and make something on Fruity Loops using Maschine and FL Studio. And so what I did was I went ahead and I want to do something different. I want to use Maschine to make the beat, because y'all see me using Fruity Loops. Y'all probably thinking, well, I'm not really using Maschine, but we are using Maschine and Fruity Loops. So the biggest thing about my template that I set up, guys, is this the fact that I have all these MIDI channels linked up to the pads, and then I have these things like the locks functions linked up on a MIDI channel. And I also have this one called functions. It lets me do stuff like note repeat and chord mode from Maschine right into Fruity Loops. So these are the biggest things with my template that you might not be realizing if you don't have the template or you're not utilizing it like this. These are important because you want to be able to sequence the drums on Fruity Loops, or I want to be able to sequence them on Maschine, or I want the drums that I sequence on Maschine to come over to Fruity Loops, or I want the patterns I do on Fruity Loops to go over to Maschine. And so we have to have this integration here with the MIDI channels and the pads, or whatever sound might be on that pad. So that's one of the key features, and we've set that up. All you have to do to set that up, guys, is use a MIDI out option, and you have to route it to the correct port in the channel. There's only a limited number of channels and ports, so I would just say if you tried every one of them, you will find which one it is. And you need to do that for all your pads. And so that's one of the key things. Another key thing is the mixer. I have all of my pads and stuff going into different mixer channels, so that's real important. You know, a lot of people, they stress over, you know, how am I going to get my pattern from Maschine over to my DAW, and I'm going to have to, you know, export it as audio, and that's not a good idea. Why would you want to do that when all you need to do is route it to the mixer? You know, that's really what you want, is to route it to the mixer so that it's in the mixer, so that when you push export on your DAW, it exports all the mixer channels. Dragging audio, and you're going to be creating audio files. It's going to take up space. It might even sound different it could sound different, so you might lose audio quality that way also. And it just messes it. You can't edit the audio as much, you know, like you might have wanted to change the sound by moving a knob on the VST. Can't do that when it's recorded as audio, and sometimes you want to pitch it up and pitch it down. And I mean, you can do that by changing the pitch or whatever, but it could time stretch or warp it. And it's just too many things that go into all that, and it's an extra step that you want to avoid. So best thing to do is route Maschine into mixer channels on your DAW. So speaking of that, I'm going to start off with Maschine, and I want to use Maschine today to play instruments, right? Come up with a melody. And so what I'll do is I actually duplicate Maschine, and I make two Maschines. And I have these channels 17 through 24 that I like to put my audio. So usually I just load up an instrument on Fruity Loops and link it to these channels. But what I'll do is I'll open up a new machine and I'll link it to these channels. The way we do that is simply by going up right here on the track number. Whatever track number this is on is where Maschine starts when it sends audio out. So it'll start on that track, and then from there in the mixer it'll go to whatever is the next track. So if I put this on 1, this will be track 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and therefore. So I could even just go ahead and set that up real quick. So it starts at 16 and it goes up from there. So even though this says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's one up from 16, which is 17, and so forth. And so this is my second machine, right? So on this machine I can load up some instruments. I haven't been doing it this way because not all of my instruments are in my little list right here. You know, you have to update your plugins every now and then. Take a long time, but you want to do that every now and then. But I have Omnisphere here, so I guess that's really all I need. So I'll load up Omnisphere right here. It's loading. It's taking forever. I haven't done it in a while. I've noticed if you do it often, it takes less time. I don't know. So we have Omnisphere loaded right here, and it's inside the machine. I'm gonna go ahead and open the instrument up so that I can browse through it, maybe try to find some different sounds. My computer runs real slow. Your computer is gonna run way faster, I'm sure. Alright, so I opened up Omnisphere inside a machine, and I'll just go through and I'll find some sounds. So I guess this is a good time. I can pause my video. I'll go through, I'll find some sounds, and then I'll come back when I found a sound that we're gonna use. Alright, so we've loaded up Omnisphere inside of machine number 2. As you look right here, when I push a key on machine number 2, you see that it's coming through track 17. Remember, because we routed it right there. I went ahead and I used chord mode on machine. You know, when you push chord mode on machine, you can go through and you can play different chords, and it's got all these different chord sets and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I went to chord set minor number 2, and it sounds like this right here. I guess I need to switch this over for y'all. Oh, I hate using this thing. Alright, so let me show you what it sounds like. So that was just one chord pattern. I didn't really want to make a slow beat, but I guess I'm going to make a slow beat. So, I mean, at this point I could just push record and record this pattern right here onto machine. Before I push record, I should set the bar length. I guess it's the right length. It's not the right length. Let me put it on 8 bars. So I just push pattern and I move the knob over to 8 bars. You can see it right here. And I'll just push record and record this. Just record that right there. And it starts right away, right? And let me just push stop. And let me delete this. The reason that it's looping over and over is because since we have machine hooked up to Fruity Loop, it's gonna go by what the DAW it has set, right? So whatever play length or is selected on the DAW, right now it's on pattern. So you know pattern is only 1 bar. So I have to tell it, you know, to go longer if I want it to go longer. So I just put it on song mode, and I select that many bars. Now it will continue to go on machine however long it's selected on my DAW. So just one thing to keep in mind, right? All right, so I just recorded those pads. Let me hear it. And I guess I could take all these right here and I can move the velocities down. I liked how it sounded when the velocity was low on them. So I'll just turn the velocity down on them and Alright, so we have this little pattern that we've set up right here. This pattern doesn't necessarily need to be moved over here to Fruity Loops or nothing. It's already going through the mixer, and that's the key, right? So let's just leave that pattern right there like that, you know. I want to add some more notes on here, so I'm actually going to go to chord mode. I'm going to go to chord mode, and I'm actually going to go to scale mode. And now I'm playing scale minor right there. So I'm playing scale mode. I guess I'll come up with a melody. Let me go ahead and pause the video and come up with a melody that we can use for the beat. Alright, so what I did was I went ahead in the Omnisphere. I ended up changing that sound from those keys to some choir. And I put a chorus on it from a Maschine chorus, and I put some EQ Maschine, and I took the low off. And it sounds just like this right here. Alright, so then I went ahead and on to a new instrument right here, this Nexus, and I figured I'd go ahead and I put in my piano. So I'm just going to put on a few piano notes. This is on a new channel, so it's going to come in through channel 18, right? You can see it coming through on 18. I could turn it down a little bit and just try to make a melody. Remember, I can go to scale mode, and I can put it on scale right here on Maschine. So it's real easy to come up with the melodies and chord and scale on Maschine. So we'll go ahead and try to come up with a piano pattern real quick. Alright, so I'm back. I took the piano and I just pushed minor scale mode, and I just played a few notes right here. You can see just right on the pad. And I'll go ahead and I'll play it, but at this point the CPU is getting real high. Anytime that you have VST inside of a VST, or you open up your instrument inside of Maschine while it's in VST mode, it will take a little more CPU. It's nothing crazy, but it's just something to keep in mind, you know, and especially if you have a problem with CPU or your audio card, it's something that you want to watch out for. It's one of the main reasons why I open up instruments right here inside of Fruity Loops. It's actually less CPU than if I go through and I open up the instruments inside of Maschine. So I'll go ahead and I'll play this right here, and you can hear that it's kind of skipping a little bit. You can listen right here. And you can see on the mixer, should turn this down. And you can see on the mixer, it's coming through two different channels. So I did recommend y'all not to actually, you can keep it here on Maschine, but for the sake of CPU, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna convert these into audio. The thing is, if I want to change the key later, I have to remember that I need to change the pitch a certain amount of semitones for each key. It always kind of boggled me, or I never knew because no one told me, and it's not shared, how many semitones you switch a sample up to change it a key. But I've learned that I think it's like 100 semitones is one key. So just keep that in mind. So what I'll do, man, is if I really am gonna put this as audio into my beat, right? Why don't I just put it right here on the playlist? Cause eventually that's where I want my audio to be at, right? So we are gonna do that. We're gonna we can use this audio button right here, and I can just hold down on it, and it'll allow me to select the audio waveform. Exporting audio and bring it over here to Maschine, to Fruity Loops. So let's bring it here, and there it is right there. It's almost perfect length. I'm gonna go down here to Nexus, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna grab the audio and I'm gonna bring it over here. I didn't really how do you say, set the volume level of the audio or gain stage it perfectly, but it's all good. So we have those two audio waveforms right there. Since I did that, I'm gonna delete the instruments right here because I was just telling y'all about my CPU and it's all going to hell. So just deleted those right there. So it's just an ideal way you can use, you know, Maschine to come up with melodies instead of just using Fruity Loops. So I'm gonna go ahead and route these to those channels that I have, 17 and 18, right? It's really not bad if it's low because I can always normalize it, right? So we have our audio samples. One thing I want to look at is if you look at the playlist right here, you can see how it kind of ends like that, the audio. So you want to kind of see what it's going to sound like when it repeats itself, because that's how it normally does, you know what I mean? That's how it does under normal circumstances. So, and I don't want to cut the tail off on this all the way until I have to, so keep that there, and we'll keep this here. You can see that loop pretty good. So sometimes I will put the audio loops on top of each other like this, but as you can see, it kind of cuts, it might cut the tail off of that one. So sometimes I will just put it on two different channels to where they're rotating. That way I don't ever have to cut them off. Just a thought, you know. All right, so I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, right? Since I deleted those sounds, I got two more extra ones. I'm gonna move it up 1, 2. People calling me, they don't really want nothing. I don't even know who that is. But alright, so we're gonna move it up 2, since I'm using 2 of those mixer channel tracks. I'm just gonna find another instrument inside of Maschine and use Maschine to make the melody. So pause the video and I'll find another instrument real quick. Alright, so I just loaded up another Omnisphere basically, and you can see it right here, Omnisphere. Let me close this stuff, and you can see on the mixer, I keep minimizing this stuff. You can see it coming through channel 19 now, because remember I went ahead and I switched it up to, remember I told y'all it starts right there. So I'm just gonna find a new sound to add on top of those ones that are playing already basically. So and I'll use this scale mode. I'm still in minor scale right here. So I'll just find a different patch that I like, and I'll make another melody real quick. So I'll pause the video while I do that. All right, so I found this sound, and I was just thinking, you know how you have art mode on Maschine? So Maschine, you can go to keyboard mode, you push art mode, and then whatever notes you hit, it'll play an art between those notes, and then you can use the knob, and you can change the rate of the art and make it slow or fast. And so that's what I did. I found this sound. I found two notes that go together or whatever, and I put an ARP so that it'll rotate between these two notes. Actually, a few notes that go together. So I'm using the ARP mode, and I've always thought about doing this, and it's really a great thing to do because you can hold multiple pads and play an ARP. So if you found a good chord, you could ARP that chord right on Maschine, and you can do a lot. So that's what I'm gonna do with this sound right here, and it sounds like this. So something like that, where I'm just kind of playing with the bell. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it and record that right here on Maschine. All right, so I hold down ARP mode and I push record, and it comes out just like this. From here I can you know, kind of set the level of the sound. I could even add effects to it. Maybe I'm gonna add some effects to the sound from Maschine and then see if we can tweak it up a little bit. But it sounds like this right here. So like a real sad, slow type melody right there. So add some effects real quick. Let's see what I do. All right, so I went through some effects on Maschine. Now they all sound like crap. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it as audio, and I got plenty of different effects and stuff in Fruity Loops. But yes, the Maschine one sounded very bad. So we won't use none of those. I will take this audio pattern and I'll drag it over. So let me just check the audio level of it. And I can see that it's kind of loud, right? So what I'll do is I'll actually turn it down on the instrument. Somewhere around there or whatever. So since I went ahead and did that, I'll just go ahead and I'll do the same thing with this one. Now remember, you can keep it as you can keep it like this as MIDI, and at this point you can be done with it because it's already routed to a channel. But the reason I'm doing it is because the CPU, it will take up more CPU when you add a VST inside of this VST. So to save CPU, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll just drag it. And remember, I said that when I'm dragging it, I might as well go ahead and just drag it to the playlist, right? So I'll drag it to the playlist as an audio sample. And you just gotta hold down on it. There's other ways to do it. I could sample it. I could sample it inside a Maschine and then drag it or something. Or I can use that feature right here. So I went ahead and I drag it right there. And remember, I said a lot of times I'll put audio on top of each other. That way they'll fade into each other nicely. Sometimes I will put them on another channel so that they don't cut each other off. It just depends if it's going to affect the sound or not. So after I went ahead and done that, I will delete the instrument. You don't have to delete it. Remember, you can just click like that and black it out. That's an alternative right there. Just black it out, and you don't have to worry about it. That way you could save the MIDI notes if you wanted to. But I'll go ahead and I will cut that. And you can hear that I have the audio over here now. And when it comes over, I'll link it to the mixer channel, the appropriate mixer channel that I was going to have it on, which would have been 19. So at this point, we are using an audio clip instead of. So there's just some weird ambient sounds, and I find one sound to cut through it, like something electronic or a lead or something like sharp, and then I'll just work on some bass line and some drums and just call it a day. So Let's just find another sound or instrument, and I will use Maschine still. Alright, so I picked Silent. I haven't used it in a while, so it's actually a pretty good one for me to pick. That's nice. And look at, you know, when you load up an instrument, it loads up all these presets. So like if you're really good at sound design, you can use all of these different things to change your sound. Hell, this thing has 12 sets, 12 pages of automatically mapped presets that come. So I'm just gonna find a sound and make a pattern with Silent. So once I'll pause the video while I do that. Alright, so I'm sitting here with Silent. I don't know why, but I can't find nothing good on Silent. Not that easy. And I'm getting tired of doing it this way, so I'm actually going to go back to the original way. So it's good that I can show y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this machine. We use it to make 3 different melodies by using chord mode and scale mode on Maschine and loading up instruments and playing it on the pad. So we made these 3 melodies with it. If I switch right here back to it, it's the second Maschine is the one that I was using. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete it now since I've done using it. Like I said, you can keep it open and just have the instruments routing to the mixer track, or you can do it like this, where as soon as you get a melody, take it as a wave track and bring it into Fruity Loops, either or. So it's good that I show you that. Instead, for this last instrument, I'm just going to go ahead and load it up like I normally do, just by right clicking on Fruity Loops and then going to insert and just inserting a VST that way. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and load something up and try to find a pattern. Alright, I just loaded up Nexus, man. I just found this guitar. It sounds kind of cool. It's like this. It's like a fuzzy guitar. I thought it'd be nice in the background. So yeah, all I do is I right click it, go to replace instead of insert, so that it'll put it on whatever track. Since I already used up those 3 tracks, let me just put this on track 20 so that it's on an empty track, right? And let's just play a melody with our keyboard. This will be the only instrument that I have that I keep right here on the channel rack, and you'll see the little dots for the MIDI notes. And I'll keep it there. Since I loaded in Fruity Loops, we kind of just keep our instruments there. You can do the same thing with Maschine. Remember, you can just leave it right there, or you can bounce it to audio. And I bounced it to audio this time, but it's never necessary. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the Nexus instrument right here. Alright, I made this melody. It's all off, like the timing is off, it recorded off. You know how it is sometimes when you record in Fruity Loops, the notes are off. So I'm going to have to go through and put them on time, but you can kind of hear it. It's just simple, just like a reoccurring pattern right here like this. I might even be able to put it on like 1/6 and quantize it, but I just need to go through and you know, put it on time, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and 1 sec. So I'm over here editing these notes. With the notes editing, you know, like you just kind of try to look for patterns. Once you find a pattern, like, or you find the pattern, you just kind of copy that pattern to the other note. And that's how I do it. Stop calling my phone. Hold up a sec. Alright, so I went ahead and edited these notes that I've recorded or whatever. And with stuff like this, I was going to say, sometimes, like, if you listen to this instrument, like every note goes like dun 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 dun. Every note. But like on instruments like these where every note like comes in with an attack, if you just like have the notes overlapping each other, so I grab all of them and I kind of drag it so that every note now is going to have an overlap, and I'll go all the way to the end and I'll cut that overlap off. But just having an overlap on every note will kind of make it'll make the synth flow together instead of repeating on every note. You know exactly what I mean. So I'll do that. Stuff like this, I always feel like I can just put It's simple, but I could put effects on it or something, and I can make, you know, change it up or switch it up. Stuff like growth speed or stuff where it's like going pan left or right, or it's like a filter or something, or just any weird effect. Or I can just keep it like that. So we have those sounds right there, and I could add one more sound, but I should go on to the beat at this point. So I'm gonna go on to the bass line. So I'll make a bass line real quick. I just used this bass line like 3 days in a row, and I don't know why, but this thing is so nice. It is real nice, actually. It's not the best or whatever, but it's just a good ass 808. And look at it. It's like real thick, so you know it's gonna be thick, and you can see the beginning where it has like a kick, and it's real thick, and then it cuts off, which is kind of good too, because you know how a lot of times we kind of cut our bass envelope anyway. And I just been liking it lately. I don't know why. It's not the one I usually use. I usually actually use the spins, or I like DJ Shotty P's 808. Sometimes I like the DJ Pluck sometimes. And then there's just tons of other ones. I have this 808 for Days kit. A lot of y'all have given it out to, and it has 1,000 808s. They're actually not the same, because I ran this thing to make sure that they're not the same sample that's renamed. So it's great 808 kit. So I just put that 808 there, and just gonna go ahead, man. And I know that I'm on the C scale, which is pretty easy. So I basically just go by ear, and I lay down the notes. I could do it on my keyboard or whatever. I don't know. So I'm gonna put down the 808 pattern. A lot of times I just like to get the root notes. I know every bar needs to hit and a note like dun, another bar dun. So I need to figure out what these root notes will be on the beat. So I'll figure out something real quick. And yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, it's a C right there. So I'll just add some notes. Alright, so I kind of found some notes that go with it. They're just real simple. It just goes from C, and then it just starts going down, and then it comes back up. The old classic 3-note bass line, you know. And I just kind of put some kicks in, you know, some different 808s in there. Sometimes I don't like to do that because I feel like I'm dictating the pattern of the kick. Sometimes I want to make the kick first and then put where the 808's gonna hit. So sometimes I'll just have a root note all the way across one note until I get to my bass, my kicks, but or whatever, you know. Or I'll do it like where I'll draw in some 808s, and I might have the kick follow this. So that's one thing that so yeah, like I was saying with the kicks and 808s, it's hard to say if the 808 pattern should be just like this or if I'll change it up with the kicks. But I do like to have like a little foundation, so I might just put that right there, and I might come back to it and add something to it later, but for now I just keep it like that. And since I have some melodies, a few, and I have these drums, I mean this 808, I'll go ahead and I'll get on my drums. So I guess I'll just keep the video recording while I make a drum kit. It used to take me a minute, but it doesn't really take me long now because I kind of know the way I organized it. I used to drag drums over here from the playlist in Fruity Loops, but I have a hell of a lot of kits, and I started consolidating stuff. So what I do now is I just push browser on my machine, and I'll go over to my user kits. I had a kit right here. I guess I should show y'all. You can see the browser. I have a kit called Tune Drums. So I'll go to this kit called Tune Drums, and inside of it I have subfolders. So I got one right here called Kicks. If I push the favorites button, it loads up my favorite kicks, and I like to use this one. You might recognize it. It's a pretty good kick, man, and it's a reason why Cash Money uses it all the time. It's a strong kick. It's not, hell, man, you can find a kick anywhere. So it doesn't really matter, I guess, what kick you're using, as long as you can get it to sit right. This one's a good kick though. What I do is I put all my kicks on one channel or on one row, so all my 4 bottom pads are kicks. That's how I make my drum kits. Even though I only use 1 kick, so I just use 1 pad. I got tired of always pushing pad 1 or pad 2 to make my kick. I felt like if I do that forever, that pad is going to be more sensitive than the others, because I always use it for my kick and I be hitting it hard. So sometimes I'll switch it up and I just use pad 3 or 4 or whatever. So I have my kicks right there. I'm trying to think why I can't hear nothing. Probably because I keep my machine on smart disable. It's a good way to keep it from eating up CPU. So I'll turn that off. And then I'll just go to the, the pad. I'll pick pad 5. I'll push browser. I'll go up here. I'll go to snares. It has all my snares organized. I'll just go through them until I find one. Whoa, let me turn this 808 down though, because like, wow. I'll use that one. And then I'll do a clap. So I'll go switch over to my clap folder. I like that clap. I load that clap. I'll go to browser. I'll switch over to my hi-hats. That's a cool hi-hat always. And then I can hold shift and browse through. Yeah, I keep all my samples labeled with the key. You should try it, man. I like that one. And then I'll go over to this third pad right here. I like that one. So I got 3 hi-hats. I'll go over to this last pad and I'll switch over here to open hi-hats, and I'll load up an open hi-hat. Kind of like that one, so I'll load that one up. I'll go up here, I'll switch over to percussion, and then I'll switch over to my sub bank, which is crashes, the symbol, and I'll pick one. I like that one. After that, I'll go into percussion, and I switch over here to my category, and I go to all sub banks, because I have, if you look, I have all these sub banks of percussion sounds, but if I go to all, it just doesn't organize them. It just has them all there, and I can kind of go through all my percussion sounds and pick what I want. I don't want that one. Let me come here. Damn, shit's too loud. I like that one. Go over to the next sound. I like that sound. And then the last sound, I usually will put a rim shot, or let's just see. Looked out my window, got a repo man outside. About to fuck somebody's day up. Damn, these samples are loud. Turn my speaker down. It's gonna ruin this video for y'all. I like that sound right there. I push B, in bank B, I keep my effect. So a lot of times I'll just switch over there and I'll put, if I find something nice, I'll put it in there like that. on bank B, and I'll switch back over to A. It's a nice rim. Let me put that rim on my last pad. So as you see, we made a drum kit. It's got 16 pads. I'm gonna go ahead and close the browser at this point. What I'll do at this point is I'll do this first. First thing I'll do is I'll select and I push all. It selects all of those. You can see it selected all of them. I'll go to plugin on my machine, and then I can go over to voice settings, which is right here where the mouse is, and I can use my machine and I can just scroll down to 1. I can go over on the type, which is right here. I can switch over and I can go to ADSR. So now all of them are on 1 and AHD is what I like to use lately. From there I go to select and I push none. So that's not selecting all of them. And I'll go through each sound individually, like let's say, can't hear this. I can't hear my drums. I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, I got select. I got select enabled. So yeah, I'll go through each drum, and like on percussion sounds, the hold and decay needs to be longer. So I'll turn up the hold and decay. You can see it right here. You see when I turn it up, it lets me hear the full length of the sound. This was a short sound, so it didn't need a long decay. This one, it needs a longer decay so that it can go. It's a short sound. On my open hi-hat, I like to put it on ADSR. And I like to put the release down low, like around here. That way it comes on and off right when I hit the pad fast. That's about it. Maybe a little more. Alright, so once I got a drum kit like that, I've affected the envelope on the sounds that I want to. I just select them in the groups of 4. You know, all my hi-hats, kicks, and I'll make them color. So I just labeled all my hi-hats one color, all my snares one color. Actually, I just messed that all up. But they're supposed to go in groups of 4. So it would be like this. And then the 4 at the bottom, percussion. I just make them 4 different colors, so now they're all lit up on my machine. I go to right click and I go to save with samples. This is real important. Save with samples, and just pick a folder where you save all your kits, man. Here's my folder. If I go down, I just go down, and this is the next kit, so this will be 326. It's good, man, because like these kits are in my browser. I can just bring them up at the click of a button on my machine, MK3. Also, they're full of dope sounds that I picked one by one, so they're always good. This is how I made my monster drum kit, you know, like I consolidated all the kicks from all these kits. It was like 400 kicks, and like that's how I have this drum kit with like 400 kicks in it, and like they're all top-notch kicks, and that's how I made my drum kit, and that's how you can do it too. So once I make a kit like that, it's time to sequence out the beat. Now remember, we can do it on the step sequencer right here, or we can do it inside a machine. We just gotta pick what we want. I like to do it on machine because I can push the events button and I can see the notes on machine, and it's easy to start with the hi-hats on machine because I can push that note repeat. So we'll just kind of mess with it like that. I guess I could keep the record on. So I just push note repeat on my machine. I guess I should open it up so y'all can see it. Push note repeat on my machine, and I can like lay these hi-hats, you know. These hi-hats sound the very same, but just a little different. wanted it slower like that, so I'll do like that. Sometimes it won't catch that first note. I should probably put my headphones on because the volume and stuff is probably screwing up the video. Because I got the microphone right next to my speakers. At least if I put the headphones on, y'all can't hear the speaker beat. All these sounds are so damn loud and stuff. So it's cool because you can double up on it and stuff like that. So I'm gonna mess around and kind of sequence out some hi-hats and stuff. And you see how when I recorded it went all the way and it looped around? I can push shift, step, undo, and undo those last 2 steps. So you can undo steps at a time or undo the whole patterns at a time. So that's tight. You can do a lot more. Like I can go into keyboard mode and go down an octave, start hitting lower notes. Let me I don't know how I did that. I changed this note, root note, to something low. That's odd. I'm actually gonna record that right there on top. That's odd. Oh shit. Alright, so just a simple hi-hat pattern, then I'll come on the kicks and stuff like that. I'm not gonna use this hi-hat right here, the second one. I'll just mute it out. So let me pause the video while I work on something here. Alright, so what I can do is I'll push the pattern button and I'll double it. And you can see when you double it, it allows you to double the pattern. So I just made the pattern with 8 bars instead of 4. And then from there I could just lay down like the snares or something. I can add like another snare on top. Just a little something right there. Yeah. You got the clap right here. So that's a cool snare pattern, and then I'm gonna put some kicks on top of that right there. So pause it real quick. All right, so I'm just adding some kicks in. I'm trying to figure out how I want my kick pattern, something like. Actually, it kind of, like I said, it confuses me when I have this 808 pattern right here sometimes, but. Maybe some unnecessary ones in there. Let me just edit them a little bit. Alright, so I didn't actually edit any. They kind of sound alright, but I need to make my 808 kind of follow that pattern. So, what I'll do sometimes is I'll do this right here. And I will do this sometimes. Sometimes I'll go to pattern 2, right? I'll take these kicks that I have right here, which are right here, and I'll drag them over here to my kick. My MIDI kicks. So there they are. And what I'll do is I'll drag my 808 over to that pattern too. And I do that so that I don't have all the other MIDI notes in the background, so that I just have these and these. I can use the ghost notes. So when I go to piano roll right here, I can use the ghost notes on the kick. You see the ghost notes in the bottom, little lines down here. I mean, you can even kind of see them right there. That's where I'll know to add extra whatever's on my kick. So I do use that sometimes. What I'm meaning is I can go like, I could take these notes and just make them short by pushing Control or Shift D, and then I can like lay down notes, you know, where the other notes are. So just an idea, y'all. So you see what I mean? I'm laying down kicks where the 808 notes are. Sometimes I do this right here, man. There's other ways where I could have. Some people will copy the kick onto the 808 and then start doing all this. And just however you want to do that. So sometimes I will do that. Since I did that, I'll go ahead and delete that and copy this. And this is now my 808 pattern, so I'll copy it. I'll go back to pattern 1 and I will paste it. And I will delete these notes right here for now. So now I have my 808 kind of following the sub. I could still like push Control A and then Control L and make them longer if I want. I'll go back to song mode. That's about it, man. What else am I doing here? This is my drum kit. I should add some percussion. I got these percussion sounds right here, and I got this open hi-hat. Sometimes I like my open hi-hat and snare to cut each other off. So you just push pad, go to choke, and put this one on choke 1. And put this snare on choke 1. So it'll cut itself off. Like, these are bad on time. That one there. And I'll just repeat that sound right there. No. No. I got note repeat on, that's why. I don't even know where I want this note. So like that. Man, so it's not the best drum pattern. I damn sure didn't finger drum it, but you can see that we have all these sounds right here. So all I do, man, is I go ahead. I want to put these sounds onto the playlist on Fruity Loops. So the way I do it is I bring the channel rack over here. Just double clicked it and made it smaller. I bring it over here to the side. My screen's only so big, so I have to do it like this. And I tell everybody, click on the piano roll and then drag the notes over. If you don't do that, it's gonna ask you what do you want to drag over, and it gets confusing. And plus you can see the notes this way. So you click on the piano roll, you can see the notes, drag it. This is my kick, so that's kick 1. And I have everything in order, you know. This is snare 1, this is snare 2. I bring it and I drag it over to snare 2. This is snare 3. This is clap, which is snare 4. If you mess up, you can just keep dragging it over and it'll just replace whatever's there. It won't ask you no questions. This is hi-hat 1. I didn't use hi-hat 2. This is hi-hat 3. Ugh. This is my open hi-hat. Damn it. Just make sure you click down on this and then bring it over. You can use the arrow thing on your keyboard and it'll go down to the next one, so you don't have to keep like going over here. This is crash. This is perk 1. This is perk 2. This is perk 3. Alright, that's it, bro. That's all you gotta do. Now all the sounds are over here on Maschine. On Fruity Loops. So since we have these sounds still playing on Maschine, I just push the pattern button. All these are on pattern 1, so I make another pattern, which will be pattern 2. I make it the same length if I want. And now you can see pattern 2, everything's empty now because there's nothing on pattern 2. Everything now at this point is going to play from Fruity Loops. You can see it right here. Damn, I can't believe I went to an hour and I'm just trying to show y'all. Alright, so everything's right there, man. You can see the notes. There they go, bro. I have the option, since they're over here, I can make them longer. So maybe I'll just make them all so many bars. So look what I'm doing right here. I'm going through and I'm increasing the bar length by pushing Control B. I'm making all my patterns, what is that? Not 8 bars, but I guess 16 bars. And you can look at the notes down here. All the notes are full velocity. So you can get that just by, Maschine has the full velocity mode. So all your notes can already be full velocity. So I'm increasing the pattern length of all these patterns. This is one option. I could have just left them the same and just put more boxes on the playlist, right? But yeah, that's it, bro. So now I have my patterns here. I got the 808 pattern I got that little Nexus pattern I put on there. Everything's cool, man. So this Nexus is going to track 20. I'm going to rename these tracks. That's what I'll usually do at this point. So like this sound right here was what? My choir. Sorry. This is my little piano I had. This is my my little bells. And then we had this lead right here, which was the lax lead. And since this one right here, hell, just for shit's sakes, I'll put it down here where my other sounds are. That way they're in order. You see, 17, 18, 19, 20. And I can click like this and select them all. And go over here to my mixer and just right click on the tracks. And route selected from this. Fuck. I wanted to, if you select all of them, you can go to route. Damn, I fucked up there. Go to route, select the channel starting from this track, and it'll route them up. So let's just double check that it worked. So yeah, let's double check that it worked. You can go right here to my little thing. I can push this choir. You can see that it's right there. Alright, so everything's set up now. This sound is like trying to kill my mix. Alright, so let me I'll take a note that on my machine, remember I have 4 kicks set up on the bottom pad. Well, in reality, we only need to use one of those kicks. So I just mute out the other 3. So I just muted out all but 1 kick, since it's just 1 kick anyway. There you go. So that's why the kick sounded all crazy, because it's playing 4 kicks at once. So once we get it like that, man, we're pretty much set to go, man. This is a simple beat. Everything's on pattern 1, and that's why you want to keep everything on pattern 1. Now at this point, I'm gonna go over here. What is this? Pattern 1. Yeah. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna right click on it. I'm gonna go to split by channel. It's gonna split all of these and do their own channel. Split by channel. Bam. And when it does that, I see them over here. So take note of all your stuff all over here. Hold down shift, you can right click them. I wanted the lead, the 808. What is this? Pattern 14. I guess I got 2 808 patterns. So just select all your notes. They're actually already right here, because remember I had pattern 1 right here. So you can just kind of drag them. You'll see people do that sometimes, or they'll drag them from the left side. So let me just drag all my notes down right here. You can see how it fucks it all up. I just fucked it up. Delete all of these and drag them right here from here. So these are all of my sounds from Maschine. That way we can sequence it on Fruity Loops instead of Maschine. And you'll see what I'm doing right here. I like to make all of my patterns the same length. These are both the same 808, which means I don't actually need both of these. Alrighty. That's it, man. Like, I might even like, yeah, bro. These are the bells. So let me so I got all my sounds there, and that's all you do, man, is you just get it like this. And once it's like this, you know, you can do your own sequencing and arranging and stuff. So let me just try that for a second. I guess I want the choir to come in, and then with these sounds right here, I can have these sounds like repeating themselves and stuff like that. So I guess that could have like the kick come in and shit, you know. And this lead, I can switch. You can hold down shift and you can rearrange the pattern and stuff. So the lead needs to actually be up here, and it needs to be all the way over here too. So at this point I can just rearrange it however I want. So I'm just gonna put a simple arrangement, and 1 second. Alright, man, I went ahead and I sequenced out something that I thought would be a cool. I kind of made a little arrangement, and this is what my beat arrangement's gonna be like. So at this point At this point, you know, most people have been mixing the beat while they were making it. I didn't really do that, but all it really needs is some EQ on these sounds, and then, you know, the mix, whatever, however you do that. But I wanted to show y'all the little workflow of how I make a beat. I need to save this beat. So that's about it, man. With the beats, I just save them with the number and a date. I stopped doing the naming it a long time ago. The names started getting lame and they were just like crazy. I like this way because they're in order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I skip one, which happens a lot, I start a beat and I don't get to it, or sometimes a beat can get lost and you forget that you were working on it. But if you have it like this and they're all numbered, you could just count the number and you can see when you've skipped one because you said the number is missing. I'm missing number da da da. And you'll go back in and you'll see, like, man, I can't believe I forgot that beat almost. So I like this way of doing it like this. And this is what I save it as on Fruity Loops. I still name the beat somewhere on my computer. Today is not the 15th, is it? Today is the 16th. That's about it, man. There are a few other things I'll do, like I will go to an empty pattern. You see right here, this is an empty pattern, 15. And I will put a fade out on the beat. This beat is just going forever. It needs to stop like right here. And I'll put a fade out on the beat just by right clicking, copy value, create automation clip, which will be on that channel 15. Put it down here for now. And just go here and put a point somewhere on it. Paste value so that point is the same as the original volume, and then I have to fade out like that. So I will do that, and I might go to one more empty channel and put my beat tag, which is like right here.
Ooh, Caddy.
Lately what I do is I just drag it and I drop it as an audio sample, and then I drag it, and when I drag it, it affects I guess the pitch and like how fast it plays. And that's how I set it. The other people do it different, but
Ooh, Caddy. Ooh, Caddy.
so I might do like that. Put this on I keep them on channel 25 and turn it down. That's about it, man. So I'm just gonna end it like that. I'm gonna come back later. I need to mix this beat when I get off these headphones, and just so everything's not clashing and all that. But that's all I'll do, man. It's just something simple like that. And you see how we're using Fruity Loops to sequence the beat. So this is really the key and the reason why we use Fruity Loops. It's because we want a workflow where we can pattern the beat out in a quick manner, so we can just paint it out right here, and we can put our drops and breaks. And if you try to do all that, it can get very confusing with the scenes and stuff, because you might have you're creating multiple scenes of different patterns and multiple patterns of different patterns, and doing it this way can kind of streamline everything. I've let y'all know that when we mix the beat, we don't mix the faders right here. We use Maschine. So when I mix the beat, I use Maschine, and I use the mixer on Maschine. So I got the MK3, it's got 2 screens. I'll just push the mixer button, and I'll start using the little knobs these will be all my drum sounds, and I'll set these knobs to where I want the drum sound to be. So that's how I'll mix the drums. And when it comes to my melodies, I like to use this fader here. I've read about it. It took me years to start doing that. I used to see people doing it, people that make a lot of money. And I never knew why the hell you're using this fader instead of using the mixer fader. But when I did dig deep and I looked into it, come to find out that the signal flow of an instrument, it starts here and then it goes to the instrument, which is the little knob on the instrument. Then it goes to the mixer. So when I'm mixing it here, I'm not actually affecting the original signal, if you will. So I like just to, and these knobs are more fine. Like if I'm on this knob right here and I move this like this, just a millimeter, that little knob millimeter is a lot more than if I just move this a millimeter. So if I want to fine tune a sound or get it right, you want to use this knob, because if you're using this, I'm like, let me move it up a millimeter, and you're trying to move it up with your mouse, and like it's dumb because it's not as fine tuned like you're trying to get. So that's about it, man. Everything's there. Push the F11 right here. Yeah, like good effects on here, like choruses and reverbs and delays will make it more wider, and it just kind of mix the sounds out when you EQ them. Focus on the drums and 808 and stuff like that. That's about it, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. This was longer than I expected, but I'm glad I did this. I woke up today and I found out that I had 500 subscribers. So appreciate that, y'all. It's taken a long time to get here, and I really don't have 500 people watching the channel, but 500 people have stopped by to see what's up. So check this out. This will be another one of my workflow videos, but I did a little different. I showed y'all how to use Maschine to make melodies, and I had 2 machines open, and I showed you how you have 2 machines open. You can access more mixer tracks. Use Machine's functions like chord mode, scale mode. Machine's got effects on it too. Use all of those and perform effects. Try to make yourself a third melody. You can keep it inside a Maschine, go into the mixer track, or you can drag it as audio like I did, as an audio clip. So you just pick your poison, whatever you want to do. Look, I got audio clips from Maschine, and I got MIDI notes from instruments inside of Fruity Loops. You see, because in Fruity Loops I still have down here Nexus open, so you can do vice versa. I showed y'all how I just laid down the drums. I could have laid them on the step sequencer, or I laid them in Maschine. You can do vice versa. Watch my videos. I show y'all you can record from the Maschine right into the step sequencer. So I've showed y'all a lot of stuff on my channel, so make sure y'all check all of it out. But this is basically the workflow in a nutshell. This is a quick workflow. It allows you to use Maschine and Fruity Loops together to build melodies and to build beats, and Fruity Loops to arrange. I'll use Fruity Loops to mix. I'll start adding some effects on here and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. Appreciate everybody on my channel. To say thank you to everybody that watched the video or here today, I'm gonna put a download in the description. It's a free drum kit, so I'm gonna give y'all a free drum kit today. Hell, I'll just give you the free drum kit that I just made right here. So if you didn't have the Gucci Python kick, the little kick that I'm using, it's a good kick, so you'll have that, and you'll have all these drum sounds, and they'll all be linked up. You might have to link them different to your mixer, so just remember that you gotta link stuff to your mixer. You need to have it set up. That's the most important thing about the template, is having it set up right. All right, man, until next time, man. One.